So recently I caught up with an old friend and she was telling me that she got divorced. And I was so surprised because her and her husband were such a cute couple and they had been together for 11 years. So I asked her, like, what happened? I figured something bad happened. She's like, honestly, I was just bored. Like, my husband, all he did was work. I was a stay-at-home mom. We had 3 kids and I just got lonely and bored. And she says that when she would bring it up, like, he would take her out, but it was just boring to her. Like, she needed some excitement in her life. She just felt like she was just a mom and a wife, and her husband just wasn't doing that for her. And she had other friends that had, boyfriends, or like they had just got married, and they were always going out, always going on vacation, always partying, like going to the club, going to the bar, hanging out with friends, and they did none of that. And when she would bring it up to her husband would always tell her, like, I gotta work. Like, they had a big house, they had nice things. Like, he was just trying to work. So they ended up getting divorced. And now, she's single, she lives alone, she's working, and she's dating. So then I told her, oh, well, that must be exciting, like dating and stuff. And she's like, no, I fucking hate it. And I was like, why? And she's like, because all they want to do is just have fun. They just want to go to the club. They just want to go to the bar. They just want to hang out, have a good time, and then that's it. She said no one wants to help me out. Like, I'm trying to find someone that's going to help take care of my kids. She's like, I just want someone to be a provider, not just a good time. So I was all like, well, wasn't that what your husband was doing? And she's like, I know. And I guess now her ex-husband is dating someone, like, seriously. They have been divorced for a total of 3 years, and he has been dating this girl for 2 years. She has 2 kids, and they're already living together. She says that he's fully taking care of her. Like, the girl doesn't work, she's a stay-at-home mom. They haven't had any new kids, but they're planning on having kids. And she's pissed because she's like, how can he move on so fast? Like, I can't even find nobody, and he just found someone so quick, and he didn't even want to give us another try, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was so confused because I was like, okay, so you divorced him because he was always working and you were bored. So now you are single, going out, having a good time, dating, but you don't like that. Now you want someone to take care of you, a provider. And your ex-husband, all he wanted to do was be a provider. That's why now he is dating someone who he has no problem providing for her and her kids. And she's pissed because she's like, why would he go and find someone who has kids? Like, he already has kids. Why would he want to take on that responsibility? And I'm like, wait, aren't you looking for someone to take on that responsibility? I was just giving her a hard time, I'm not gonna lie, because it was kind of funny to me, because I was like, I could tell that she regretted her decision. I could tell. And I've seen a lot of people do shit like this where they get divorced for reasons that are not, I'm not gonna say they're not valid, because everybody's feelings are valid, but they're fixable problems. Like, I don't know if you guys have this wrong idea of marriage that is supposed to be like fun and happy all the time. Like, every relationship, it literally depends on compromise. Like, you gotta compromise something. You cannot have everything.
Stories like this are more common than we think, because falling out of love rarely happens overnight. It happens quietly, slowly, and often. We don't notice until it's already happened. There's a quiet moment in every relationship that nobody really talks about. It's not dramatic. There's no shouting, no slammed doors, no breakup text waiting on your phone. It's quiet. It's when you wake up next to the person you once couldn't imagine living without, and realize somehow that feeling isn't the same anymore. You remember the way their laugh used to make you feel alive, the way you'd rush home just to see them, the excitement in your stomach when your phone lit up with their name. But now, that excitement feels like a memory. You still care for them, you still share a life, the house, the routines, maybe even the kids, but the emotional spark, the pull, the warmth, it's faded into the background noise of everyday life. And maybe you've caught yourself wondering, have I fallen out of love with my spouse? It's one of the hardest truths to face, because it doesn't happen in one moment. It happens slowly, quietly, gradually, and understanding why it happens, the psychology behind it, can help you not only make sense of it, but maybe even find your way back. Falling out of love doesn't happen with fireworks. It happens through small, ordinary moments that go unnoticed. You start talking less. You stop asking, "How was your day?" Not because you don't care, but because you already assume you know the answer. The hugs get shorter, the laughter fades, the bedroom becomes quiet. This is the silent drift, when two people are still living together, but emotionally they've started living apart, and the mind begins to protect itself. When we stop feeling emotionally fulfilled, our brains unconsciously start detaching. We invest less energy, less empathy, less curiosity. We start focusing more on their flaws and less on their humanity. You start remembering all the things they didn't do, the dishes, the plans, the effort, and forget about all the times they tried. This is emotional neglect in its quietest form. Not yelling, not anger, just emotional distance. And over time, that distance becomes a wall. The truth is, people rarely fall out of love all at once. They stop feeling seen, they stop feeling valued. And when a person no longer feels emotionally safe, love begins to erode. Here's the part most people don't like to admit. Love doesn't just fade. Sometimes it gets buried. Buried under frustration, under unmet expectations, under the heavy, quiet weight of resentment. Resentment doesn't start loud, it starts small. A forgotten birthday, a careless comment, a broken promise. You tell yourself it's not a big deal, you move on, but deep down you don't forget, you store it away. And over time, those small disappointments pile up, until one day you look at your spouse and realize you're no longer looking at a partner. You're looking at a collection of memories that hurt. The brain starts to rewire itself. Where it once released warmth and affection, now it associates your partner with tension and discomfort. So even when they do something kind, your mind filters it through old pain. Oh, now you care. Too late for that. And once resentment hardens, love struggles to breathe. That's why emotional honesty matters. Not the performative kind, but the brave, uncomfortable kind that says, "I feel neglected. I feel unseen. I feel like we've stopped trying." Because unspoken pain always becomes distance. There's another reason people fall out of love, and it's deceptively innocent. It's comfort. You get so used to each other that you stop seeing each other. You wear the same pajamas, eat the same meals, watch the same shows. Life becomes a loop, predictable, safe, uninspired. And while comfort is beautiful, it can also dull connection. Passion thrives on novelty, not just sexual novelty, but emotional novelty. It's the thrill of being curious, the spark of learning something new about your partner, or even about yourself. But when routine replaces curiosity, relationships start running on autopilot. And you know what autopilot does? It takes you places without asking if that's still where you want to go. Love needs effort, flirting, playfulness, surprise, growth. Without it, the relationship becomes functional, not emotional. You share a home, but not a heartbeat. When people feel disconnected from their partner, they don't always leave, at least not physically. Instead, they escape emotionally. Sometimes it starts innocently, talking to a co-worker who listens, reconnecting with an old friend, finding comfort in someone who simply seems to get it. But what's really happening is the mind searching for emotional nourishment. It's not about the new person, it's about the version of yourself that you feel safe being around them. You feel seen again, desired again, alive again. This is what psychologists call a fantasy bond, a mental creation of what love should feel like. You project onto someone else the emotional connection you've lost in your marriage, and once that fantasy takes hold, it becomes harder to see your spouse without comparing them to this idealized version of love. It's not always an affair of bodies. Sometimes it's an affair of the heart, and that too can quietly kill love. There's a moment, quiet but powerful, when someone finally admits it to themselves. I don't feel the same anymore. That realization can feel like guilt or even grief, because you remember how deeply you once loved this person, and it hurts to realize that love might not be enough anymore. You might start blaming yourself. Did I stop trying? Did I choose wrong? Am I broken for not feeling what I used to? But falling out of love doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. It's a signal, not of failure, but of change. It's your heart's way of saying, something here needs attention. The tragedy isn't that love fades, it's that we often notice it too late. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Love can return, but not in the same form. It won't feel like the early days again. It won't be butterflies and long nights of talking until sunrise. It'll be something quieter but deeper. It can come back through vulnerability, through difficult conversations that strip away pride and ego, through small acts of care done consistently. You can reignite connection when you choose curiosity over criticism. When you ask, "What do you need from me now?" instead of, "Why aren't you the same?" Love can be reborn in the moments you both decide to rebuild. Not from where you were, but from where you are now. It's not easy. It takes time. It takes empathy. But it's possible if both people want it. Because love isn't something you fall into once. It's something you keep falling into over and over by choice. Sometimes falling out of love isn't about your partner. It's about you. It's about the parts of yourself you stopped nurturing, the dreams you put aside, the version of you that got buried under responsibility and routine. We often expect our partner to fill the emotional voids we've created within ourselves. But the truth is, self-abandonment always leads to relational disconnection. When you stop loving you, you lose the energy required to love them. So before you decide the love is gone, ask yourself, have I truly fallen out of love with my spouse? Or have I fallen out of love with myself? Healing sometimes begins with self-reconnection, because when you rediscover your own spark, your curiosity, your sense of wonder, it changes the energy you bring into the relationship. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to share your story in the comments. Have you ever felt yourself drifting away from someone you love? What helped you reconnect? Or what did you learn in the process? And if you found value here, consider liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might need to hear these words today, because awareness is the first step toward healing, and every heart deserves a chance to heal.